Hi there, Adam Goodman, independent financial advisor in Las Vegas, Nevada. And this is a follow-up video from a video I made a few weeks ago, giving an intro and an overview around the financial services world. And I've been in the financial services world for 11 years, going on 12 next in 2022. My first 4 years, I was insurance only. And in 2014, I got my Series 65 investment advisor representative license and been working in the RIA world. Since then, I've never been in the broker-dealer world, although I have talked with a lot of people that either are in or have been in that world. And so this video is more for advisors, insurance agents that are in a client-facing capacity. There's a large part of the industry that is not. And I think it's really crucial to determine what areas best suit your skills, your desires, your long-term goals. And unfortunately, what I've seen, and it seems like the statistics share that, is that there's a lot of, I don't know if failure is too strong of a term, but disappointment, maybe people not achieving their goals or having the level of success that they want in the financial services industry. It can be a wonderful industry. What I love about it is you can make a tremendous positive impact in the lives of others, as well as doing the same for yourself. However, it's going to be easier said than done in most cases. And I want to share with you 3 areas in this video that I think could help you try to position yourself to have success. I'd say quicker, easier, with less frustration. Maybe avoid situations that are more likely to not lead to success. I think the term failure may be a little bit harsh. Maybe disappointments. We can definitely try to learn from those, but none of us are getting any younger. We only have a certain amount of time. So if we can make our time productive and effective, I think that's a great approach and strategy to go. And I hope that I'm able to help you do that. I've learned a lot in my time in the industry, and much of it to other advisors, people with more experience, sharing their perspective with me. I've always been very curious and very thoughtful, maybe a little questioning. So perhaps that might help you as well. Because one of the things I've seen is a lot of times agents, advisors, they only know what their company tells them, or the companies they work with train them on. And so sometimes there's some conflicts. And so hopefully the things I share with you will help you better recognize some of the potential conflicts and potentially avoid them if they're not in line with the type of business you want to create or the way that you want to operate. And I believe that there's a huge information mismatch, especially for people that are new to the financial services industry, when they're going about talking to different companies. There are large companies who run big call centers, and if you're in that environment, your experience is going to be very different if you're working in a smaller, more boutique wealth manager, RIA's office, where you will have maybe only several dozen, 100, 200 client relationships to manage. And so the way I think about it, are you looking to go deep or wide? What is that business model? If you're in an environment where there's sales quotas, sometimes that's not always aligned with the client's best interest, right? And so one of the challenges, and what I would suggest, I think, well, let me back up a sec. So keep in mind, we have the investment world, we have the insurance world, and we have financial planning. And there are companies that do all 3 of those things as well for their clients. And there are individuals that only work in one of those 3 areas, or sometimes 2 of those areas. So what is the area that is you're most interested in? If you are are you looking for a job and benefits and time off? Or are you looking for a career opportunity? Are you more entrepreneurial? Do you want to own your own business? Those are some important things. There's no right or wrong, but to have clarity on what's important and relevant to you will help you better determine which companies could be a fit, and I think most importantly, which ones to avoid. Okay, so I think that in the industry there is a lot more over-promising and under-delivering than there should be on companies that are recruiting. I think that it'd be naive of any of us to expect companies to say, we're not really good in this area, or based on what you're telling us, we're not a fit. I think many companies just believe in their business model, and they think that the way they do it is the best way to do it. And a lot of times you have to fit in their box, right? So there are companies in this industry that are built around recruiting and training a lot of inexperienced individuals, and they want the people that work with their company to do that as well. And if you like that environment, great, that could be a fit for you. If you want to focus more on learning how to be a financial planner, learning how to be a investment advisor, manage portfolios, those companies are probably not the place for you, probably not a good fit to go to. Also, if you are interested in owning your business, then you really need to ask some questions around what happens if you leave, or what happens if the company terminates you, to those renewals, those residuals, those trails, right? I think one area that people always talk about is that's my client, right? That's the company's client. So I think that clients can choose who they want to work with, but there are contractual agreements and things that you should be aware of that you may get yourself into. So the third area, so we talked about beginning with the end in mind and all of this, being thoughtful. I share with you a little bit about my perspective. I've always been independent, and I've always wanted to be able to put the client's interest first. And everyone says that, but again, if you have sales quotas, if you are restricted to where you can't use this particular product, you have to use that kind of product, or maybe you don't have to, but the compensation structure is highly aligned with pushing this over other things, those could be some yellow or red flags. That could mean that, hey, this might not be a fit for you. So let's jump into the third area, which is the commitment to personal and professional development, and maybe the skills that you're going to need to be successful in this industry. One of the things that is fantastic is it doesn't take a relatively long time to get into the industry. You study for some tests, pass the tests, fill out some state licenses, right? It's not like becoming a doctor or a lawyer where there's 3, 5, 7 years or more of schooling. There's not these long internships type of thing. But so could be a benefit, but that could also be a disadvantage and maybe lead people to have the wrong expectations, because this isn't an easy business. Money can be very emotional, as well as math is very logical, right? So if you are in a client-facing capacity, I would suggest that you invest in your skills, if you don't have these types of skills, to learn communications, psychology. You're going to run across many different types of people with varying levels of beliefs, understanding. And I think both types of skills are important, but if you are lacking in any one area, you don't need necessarily all the skills, but if you can assess where your strengths, where your weaknesses are, then maybe you want to be in an environment where you have support from another advisor, maybe you have some service support that can fill some gaps or stronger in the areas that you are not. I think that's very important, especially in the independent side, where we're having to do a lot of different things, wear a lot of different hats on a day-to-day operational basis. One of the challenges you may have is there are companies where, again, their interests and your interests aren't exactly aligned. And so in my experience, there are some companies that really just focus on do more business, do more marketing, try to make more sales. And those are all great goals and great things. But if you have a leaky bucket, so to speak, just putting more water in that bucket might not be the best answer or the best approach. It might make sense to, could you plug that leak first before you try to add more resources, more of your time, more of your money to that. So the other thing I would suggest is to have some other metrics to determine, your level of happiness, success, contentment beyond revenue. That's a common way that we do this, right? And that makes sense. But if you are drawn to this industry just solely for, you want to make a lot of money, maybe you'll achieve that. I think you may have some challenges if you're working directly with clients, right? If you don't have the passion, if you don't really sincerely care about people and wanting to get to know them and what's important to them and their goals and what they're trying to achieve, I would say it may be a little bit harder for you to have the type of success that people that truly have those sort of commitments and motivations are able to achieve. So I want to leave it there for now. I'm going to post a link to the other video that I did earlier, and I'm happy to try to share my perspectives. There's no sort of commandments. It has to be this way. You can't do it that way. But I definitely think that, again, most people that only have a few years of experience are overloaded. You don't know what you don't know. And most people do not, in my experience, don't have the success that they hope for with their first company. And so many times they move on, and in many cases they leave the industry. It goes, not for me. And that may be the right answer, but it may just be that situation wasn't right for you, but you weren't aware of these other situations, these other opportunities that could be better aligned and could help you achieve the goals and the success that you want, which could also help make a positive impact in your community for your clients and your future clients that you're going to serve and take care of and make a difference for. So hope this is helpful. Any questions around it, any sort of tips and so forth I can share, happy to do so. Talk to you in the next video.